Hello, everyone. I'm pretty sure we're live right now, hoping that we're live on CESSE's LinkedIn. But welcome to the first episode of our series, STEM Society Voices Preview the ACCESSE24 Conference. My name is Angel Martinez. I'm the marketing manager here at CESSE. So excited to be speaking with you, to be speaking with these two individuals here today. Before going any further, something I would love it if we could all do, whoever's tuning in today, you could just in the chat share, your location, where are you tuning in from, and maybe even what organization you're representing. I think it's always fun when we can get that sort of audience engagement, letting people know where they're tuning in from. And of course, as with these things go, if you have any questions, we'll have time at the end for Q&A, but feel free to use the chat function to share any questions that you have regarding what we're talking about. But as I mentioned, I'm Angel, marketing manager of CESSE, wanting to give a little bit of background about what CESSE is before we go on, for those who may not be familiar with our work or our association. CESSE, the Council of Engineering and Scientific Executives, which incorporated in 1977, is the professional home for hundreds of STEM society and association professional staff members, including executives and C-suite leaders who value the trusted network and experience of their peers. We offer members a platform for exchanging information about their experiences and a venue for addressing the issues, challenges, and opportunities they face in operating their organization. That's a little bit about CESSE, and today we're going to be talking about ACCESSE. But before I get into that, would love to welcome both Matt Miller and Joanna Colbourne to the stage to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about and their work and their involvement with CESSE. And yeah, Matt, would you like to kick us off?
Thanks, Angel. My name is Matt Miller. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Council of Landscape Architectural Registration Boards, otherwise known as CLARB. I have been with CLARB about 5 years now, and I've been in association management and leadership for a little more than 20 years. And CESSE has been a big part of my professional development. I'm also vice chair of the CESSE Board of Directors, and as part of that role, I have the privilege of co-chairing the ACCESSE24 conference this year, and doing that, it's a great honor to do that with Joanna. And so we're really excited about this year's event and looking forward to talking a little bit more about it today.
Thank you, Joanna.
Hi, everyone. Joanna Colbourne, and thank you for this opportunity to join the LinkedIn Live. So I'm Deputy Executive Director at the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, NFID. I've been at NFID about 13 years now. So started at the organization in the education area and then worked my way up to Deputy Executive Director. And so I've been a longtime member of CESSE and been really excited to have participated in the Program Planning Committee last year, and then was delighted to be invited back as co-chair for this year's ACCESSE24.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you. Wanting to get a little bit more about your involvement with CESSE. Like, how did you both get involved? Like, how long have you been involved with the association? What's that experience been like? I know you definitely have some experience with CESSE, but yeah, how's it been with us so far?
It's awesome. I've personally been involved with CESSE for about 10 years. Through different phases of my career, it's been a great place. And I started off, I'm going to say, just being a member, but I joined as a member to get access to the conferences and the networks and the communities that CESSE offers for our type of association, the STEM professional associations. And it's been really a great journey. I participated in CESSE for a while, and I actually started volunteering in CESSE probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I volunteered to facilitate a course called Association Basics, which has been just a great opportunity to share introductory materials with people that are either new to the association space, specifically STEM associations. And from that work, I got a chance to actually join the CESSE Board of Directors in 2020, and had the chance to also serve as an officer on the CESSE Board of Directors. And I'll tell you, from my perspective, having the ability to serve in a volunteer leadership role like that creates a lot of appreciation and empathy for my own volunteers. So I can sort of understand what they're going through in their different phases of volunteer leadership. And it's just that connection allows me to have even more credibility with the people that I support on the volunteer side.
I'd agree with that, Matt. It's a great opportunity to get involved in an organization that really speaks to what you're doing. In the STEM area, there are things so specific to what you're doing that in the broader association community, it's just not aligning. And so the experience, the network, the intimate conversations that you can have with individuals at the leadership level have been invaluable for me. And especially attending live last year, it was really great to meet a lot of those people in person too.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for sharing your experience. Now that's our intro, and I think pretty sure what everyone is here to learn a little bit more about is our upcoming ACCESSE24 Leadership Conference this year from, I believe, July 23rd to 25th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Giving a quick blurb about what ACCESSE is. It's a unique conference that combines leadership development, peer-to-peer connections, and content expertise in managing science, technology, engineering, and math societies. We see ourselves as a trusted space for STEM society professionals and an event that provides fresh perspectives and innovative ideas intended to develop all attendees' leadership and management skills so that they can go on to achieve their respective organizations' missions, objectives, and ultimately, I think, the impact on our world that we live in. I think you both have mentioned your experience with ACCESSE, but share a little bit more about how's it been when you've attended in previous years? What's it kind of been like, Joanna?
Oh man. So last year, it was my first time attending ACCESSE. So for me as a new attendee, it was a really great experience. There's a really nice, friendly atmosphere, a very inviting group of individuals. You can go sit at any table you want to and start a conversation with people, and they are willing to have that conversation with you and dive into discussions. And you also leave with very actionable information. So, it's a combination of really being inspired by a lot of those opening sessions. What do we need to do next? What are we going to do? But then you can transition to sessions where you're looking into, how can I operationalize this? What will I actually take back to my team? How will I prioritize some of those things? And I felt like that was where I really got a lot of actionable information from there, things I could take back to the office and really show some value from sharing those sessions.
Thank you. What comes up for you, Matt?
Well, I've been attending ACCESSE since about 2016, so going on 8-9 years going to the conference. And, we talk about it as a leadership conference, and it really is. And I think I would say, to kind of agree with one of the things that Joanna referenced, was the welcoming community. I've been to other conferences and there's thousands of people there, and I sometimes felt like lost in the crowd. And having a somewhat smaller community where people are from very similar type of associations has been incredibly helpful. When I started at ACCESSE, I was not in an executive leadership position, so to speak. I was a director of education for a standards development association that called NACE at the time, but has since changed its name to AMP. And from that first ACCESSE conference, I built a network almost instantly of people. And at that time, for me, it was people that were in the education and training space for STEM associations. And we shared a lot of insights and best practices and ideas with each other. And it was, nothing was off limits. We were able to share and talk about things to help each other become better. And I actually I've grown throughout my career. I've served as a chief operating officer. I've served as a CEO twice within CESSE, and every step of the way I've been able to take something away from ACCESSE. And it has really been a leadership conference for me in my own personal growth and development, beyond just the technical components of being in these roles, but really understanding what it takes to lead in our very unique type of organizations.
I just want to add on to that too, because Matt, you got me starting to think about, one of the themes that I really got from attending Access last year was helping you start to think more strategically and at that systems level than the program level. So it made that really nice connection if you are looking to grow or you're looking to take that next step. And I felt that that was something that really came through to me at the conference and was really helpful as well, because it is really hard to get out the weeds of what we're doing. We're mission-driven organizations, but also you've got to think about all these different components, how they're working together and how they're going to work to get you to that goal in the long run. And I think that CESSE and the sessions at Access really do help with that too.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's all of that is great. And I think it's also transitioning us into the next portion of our time together, which is talking about this year's theme. So as you both know, you're the program committee co-chairs. We have 4 central themes that are informing our program this year: leadership, sustainability, DEIA, and AI, innovative technology. And today we're going to talk about specifically about the theme of leadership. And just given, that word aside, I know it's thrown around a lot in different spaces, different professional spaces, but Matt, Joanna, when we're talking about this theme of leadership, what does that actually mean in relation to this year's upcoming ACCESSE Leadership Conference?
Yeah, Joanna, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, this was it's really an interesting area. So what we wanted to do is to make sure that there were some key themes that were a thread about the conference sessions. And these came out through evaluations, feedback from our own membership, from the membership at CESSE, from past attendees. And, leadership is just such a key important of what we're doing, and it's always changing. You're never going to be able to check the box and say, I've hit this skill, I've accomplished this, I'm done, I can move on to the next thing. And you have to be able to adapt to your environment, the individuals around you. And what we've seen in the last few years, I know we're past COVID, but it's still got ramifications for us. And we've changed the environment we're in. We're in remote environments. People haven't ever met each other in person sometimes and are collaborating together. So we've got all these various challenges. And how do you motivate your team? How do you keep everybody excited about what they're doing and passionate? Because we have a mission. We are very different than most other, corporate organizations out there. So how do we do that? And so, leadership is always going to be a core component of all of the activities at CESSE, but at ACCESSE specifically, I think we've got some really great sessions focusing on leadership, mentorship, growth, how to take the next step and be actionable. But I'll let Matt chime in, and I've got some sessions on my list as well that I can share some descriptions.
I could probably go through all 18 of them, but I won't. One of the things I would say too about this program this year, in addition to the themes, I think Joanna already talked about some of the functional areas. And I think one of the things that happens in associations is that we have a tendency to get siloed into our functional areas. And the thing that I love about ACCESSE is that we cover these themes, but we also have some sessions for people in specific functional areas. And the challenge that I kind of put out to my team and others I talk to is, don't just attend the sessions that are specific to your functional area, because you can learn so much more about the connections that you have across the board. One example that I have of a session that's going to be taught here at ACCESSE is, it's called simply Finance is Everyone's Business. And while you may not be doing budgeting or may not have a revenue responsibility, we all have a responsibility to understand how the finances impact the mission and the margin of the organizations that we serve. And so being able to be a little bit more well-rounded, have some diversity in our own learning and skills, this is an opportunity where you'll have the ability to go to those kinds of sessions that you might not otherwise get the chance to learn about. And so I really like the kind of the cross-functionality that we've built into this year's program.
Yeah, I've been helping to put all that stuff together on the website and just reading the descriptions of what's to come. Like, this is going to be my first time attending ACCESSE, and just, I wish I could attend all of them, but but we'll be trying to also lean into the ones that are not really in marketing focus, because to both your points, it's definitely that well-roundedness that's really important. And I think going on to this next point, just open floor. Like, what are some of the sessions that are in the works? I know you already mentioned one, Matt, but Joanna, what kinds of sessions are in the work along the theme of leadership?
So we were joking that there's a lot, and it's going to be hard to decide which ones to go to. But I've got my notes here on a few that I've had my eye on. So one of the roles that I have at NFID is really, translating the strategic plan that we have into metrics, goals, actionable, how is success shown? And so one of the sessions I was looking at was executing your strategic plan from vision to reality and beyond. And the description is whether you're looking to revitalize an outdated plan or kickstart a new era of growth, this session will empower you to turn your strategic direction into reality. So for me, that's always exciting. I always like to learn different ways people are measuring success. Success is sometimes very hard to measure, with numerically. And so I always like to see what people are doing with that. And then there are some sessions on authentic leadership, which I think is really important, especially in this day and age. We've got so many challenges happening in the outside environment too, that I've got my eye on that authentic leadership. And then I did mention Matt's got a session on mentorship. I don't know if you want to give us a little preview of that.
Yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. It's that session specifically is about coaching and mentorship, and what's the difference between the two. When you have a relationship with a mentor, it's different than when you have one with a coach. And how do you leverage both of those relationships to really advance your own development? One is really focused on executing and making decisions. The other one is really kind of challenging the way that we think and developing ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm participating in it. I'm actually convening it with an executive coach and another person or two that are going to participate in, and actually even modeling some of the coaching activities that one might go through if they have that opportunity. The other thing I would add on is it being a leadership conference. This is a great opportunity. Several of my staff are actually going to be presenting at ACCESSE24. And, it's a great leadership development activity to share your expertise, share your successes, and share your knowledge with others. And there's a lot to be said about doing that and putting yourself in that position. It can be a little intimidating to do, but that's part of growth, is kind of feeling and working your way through that discomfort. And I really like the fact that we all, as executive leaders, sometimes, whether we're deputy executive directors or CEOs or COOs, it's our responsibility to encourage the really smart people on our teams to share how smart they are with others and develop them along the way. So I'm looking forward to seeing even some of my own team members. And you referenced the strategic planning session. A couple of my staff are going to be participating in that, and I'll be in the front row for that one myself. Just a couple of others that I'd mention is one of the things that about ACCESSE is that it's very topical in current topics. There's a session that's really that focuses on navigating the new workplace. Most of us are at least in hybrid situations, I would imagine. We at CLARB have gone fully remote, and others are, mostly back in the office. How do you manage and navigate the leadership in those spaces, but also kind of the more technical side of things? If someone's living in a different state, or if you have to have flex hours, what are those challenges that we're now facing post-COVID, and how are you dealing with them from a cultural, leadership, and actually administrative standpoint? So that one I think is going to be exceptional as well.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't chime in, and I'm sure if Louise is watching, I think she's in the chat, but we do have some Ignite session opportunities. So if you're not already presenting, keep your eye out for that as an opportunity. They are quick fire presentations and very fun. So please keep your eye out for that. I'm sure you'll receive an email from Angel and their team about opportunities there. So please feel free to submit for those.
Definitely. And referencing our audience again today, I know Louise definitely is tuning in. And to everyone else joining us, just a reminder, if you're able to, if you have a question or just anything that you're wondering about this year's ACCESSE, I'm going to get into that Q&A a little bit in just a couple minutes before we wrap up. But this next portion, I feel like we've talked a lot about the benefits of ACCESSE, what to expect, or benefits, what to expect at ACCESSE. If you had to summarize it in just one sentence, Matt and Joanna, what's like one specific tangible way that attending Access has benefited maybe your personal leadership or even the collective leadership of your respective organization?
I don't know if I can do it in one sentence, even though you've thrown it out. Maybe one word would be growth. If I chose a word, I've really grown. I always tell people I grew up through CESSE. I grew up through ACCESSE. It gave me the opportunity to gain skills to actually take the next step in my career, whether it was going from a director to a COO to CEO, et cetera. And so growth is really what I'd focus on. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention the importance of our partners. At ACCESSE24. We are able to learn from each other as those that work at associations, but we have great partners that bring in their own set of expertise and their own knowledge, and we get a chance to interact with them. And they're not vendors. They're not just there to sell you something. They're there to show how they can partner with you to actually help you achieve your goals. And we've had strong support from partners across the board, and I want to make sure that we don't forget mentioning them. And then finally, the networking, the built-in networking events are critical to your success and your experience at ACCESSE. I know many of us are a little bit introverted and it's a little uncomfortable to go to those things, but that's where I feel like the magic happens at the networking event or the after hours events, which we refer to afterglows, or just bumping into people in the hallway during a break. That's, I think, where really a lot of that magic and connection happens.
Yeah. And I think you touched on quite a few things. So I guess I'll say I really left motivated. That would be one of my keywords. And then the other thing that I'll mention is opportunities. This is a great place to really talk to people, to get ideas, to network, to grow. So there's so many different things that you can do depending on what your goals are coming into it, that I really encourage everybody to attend. And then if you come see us, we'll make sure you're comfortable at networking events if you're an introvert.
Yeah, I personally identify as one of those introverts, so looking forward to this space. And moving on to our Q&A portion, I'm not seeing any questions, but I'm sure that people have questions, or questions will come along when we end this live stream. So if there's ever any questions, I know Matt and Joanna are pretty open, available to answering any questions as the program committee chairs. Oh, we have a question right here. How many CAE credits will you be earned by attending? Hi, Liz. So I believe attending ACCESSE, you'll be able to earn up to 10 CAE and CMP credits, if I'm correct. And if I am correct, Matt and Joanna, you might know, I think one of those credits will be ethics credits, correct?
That is correct. There are several sessions that touch upon ethics to ensure that you can claim that credit for anyone that's going for their CAE.
Awesome. Cool. That was our question. Seeing no others, I have a couple of wrap-up questions that I put together for us. And one thing that I really enjoyed hearing both you, Matt and Joanna, talk about are the community, the connections, the people that you meet, that you re-meet, you catch up with at the conference. Just wanting to ask both of you, who is one person, one connection that you've made at ACCESSE that has helped, build, contributed, or elevated your leadership? Let's just, shout them out. Who are those two individuals?
It's hard to limit it to two individuals, I have to say, because the entire program planning committee last year were individuals who I had never interacted with prior to being on that committee. And each one, I had a different connection with, and we talked about various different things. And, some of those individuals were even invited back for this year's planning committee. So I don't have necessarily individuals to call out. I did see, I think, Amanda in the Q&A, and I know Nicole has also been helping me. She helped co-chair the session last year, so we definitely had a fantastic connection. But I think everybody that I met was a great person to meet, and I will say it's really important to continue those connections. So, get on LinkedIn, connect with them immediately afterwards. Don't lose those. We're all busy people. We understand you may not reach out right away, but that's a great way to just keep that connection going so you can have those conversations.
Yeah, and I'll answer kind of in a strange way. So I will give one name, and her name's Melanie Diaz, and she actually is serving on the program committee, the ACCESSE24 committee. She's I met her at ACCESSE, hired her at ACCESSE, and we have been colleagues and friends ever since. And I've learned so much from her over the years, and we've stayed in touch. And even when we haven't had time throughout the year to connect or talk, ACCESSE is a place I always knew I could kind of reconnect with her and have conversations and recruit her to come back onto the program committee. So that's one example. The other one, and just as a short, quick story, is my first CEO role didn't work out. I was in the role for probably a year and a half, and it was a transition. And I think a lot of us experienced that. The other one I would just say is the entire community, because when I went through that transition, I had a community that rallied around me and actually reached out on my behalf to executive recruiters that, told people that I had participated and was engaged in the community, and the entire community rallied. And I've not seen that happen just with me. I've seen it happen with other people that have gone through promotions or transitions like I have, or have troubling questions or dealing with an issue that they can put in a forum online and ask that question and get a lot of support from the people in the community. So the community in general as an entity and as a whole has been one that I've learned quite a bit from.
Thank you. Thank you both for sharing. Definitely shout out to those people that were named. I think you said Amanda, Nicole, and missing the last one, Melanie Diaz. Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to meet them, and hopefully that they'll also meet us in Toronto. This last question that I have, just what's one word that sums up how you're feeling about this year's ACCESSE? I know for me, I've already said it before, first time going to be in ACCESSE, first time in Toronto too. So I don't know if it's just generic, but just the word that's coming out for me is just excited, just really, really excited to be convening with everyone there. What's one word that comes up for you two that sums up how you're feeling about ACCESSE?
It's hard to do in one word, and I was going to say excited, but I'll use a word that has different connotations in many different ways and hopefully make Matt laugh a little bit. I'll say hockey, because we've got Toronto, we've got the highs and the lows of the cap season as well. But very excited, nervously excited, but excited. But yeah.
For me, it's anticipation. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with people. I'm looking forward to the program that's been put together, and looking forward to the sessions, and really looking forward and anticipating a great turnout from the STEM professional community. And so I'm just anticipating a lot of really great things for this year.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Couple of, house things or wrap up things. Where can you register, or where can you learn more? Just visit our website, www.cesse.org/access registration. I have the link right there. We do have many different ways you can save on your registration. The first being early bird registration, which I believe ends on June 11th. If you register before then, you save, I believe it's $50. In addition to that, community connections, just people coming together. All that said, we also have a special offer where if your organization registers 5 or more folks, you also receive an additional 10% off of your entire order. And lastly, I believe CESSE members also get, I think it's $100 off of their registration. So just many different ways that we make this, I don't even have this written, that we make this accessible, no pun intended, to people to be able to come experience this event, whether for the first time or if you've been attending many years like Matt and Joanna have. But yeah, really, really excited for Toronto this year in July. well, with that said, I don't have anything else. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today, who engaged with us. We will be sharing the recording, so anyone who wasn't able to join us, definitely send them the link if they're interested in ACCESSE. If they're in a STEM society, would definitely encourage them to check this out, connect with us, learn more about the events. And last but not least, thank you so much, Matt and Joanna, for joining us for the first episode of our preview of the ACCESSE24 Leadership Conference. We'll have a couple more episodes where we'll explore our 3 other themes, and hope to see everyone there at those episodes. But yeah, that's all I have. Any last concluding words from you, Matt and Joanna?
See you in Toronto.
See you in Toronto. Thanks for having us.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.